Hi, GritsFX here, and today we're here at Nirmada Studios. Now, I've been hearing a lot of buzz online about Avengers Doomsday, which has gotten me all excited about the character Dr. Doom. So today I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to actually sculpt the character in my own little rendition, and I kind of feel like I want to add a little bit more of like a supernatural or maybe even almost like a scarier version of the Dr. Doom. I don't know how far I'm going to push it, but we'll see where it goes. So let's just jump right into it, right? Got my clay cutter tool right here, and I've been trimming the edges of this little buildup that I have right now, just to get the general shape of the head and the hood itself. I'm going to build off of that, sculpt the face, and maybe work my way down towards like the shoulders and, you know, a little bit of the hand. Now, as far as I know about this character, he's pretty menacing. I haven't really read much of the comics, but I've always found him pretty fascinating. Now, I feel like this character, he's pretty known to wear this hood pretty much most of the time. And I know it flares out a little bit on the sides and towards the bottom a little bit. So at this point, I pretty much just want to block out the basic shapes, carve in the shape of the head, make sure the proportions are correct, find out where I'm going to have the jawline, the chin line, because since he's got like such a hard, rigid face, it almost looks like I have to really define that jawline. So I'm just digging this clay out so that I could have enough room to place in my eyeballs that I have right here. Two little silver balls. Now at this point, I gotta really pay attention to the placement of these eyes. Sometimes they end up looking a little bit off every once in a while, so these will pretty much be his human eyes, because he's got human eyes hiding behind that heavily armored mask. His mask almost looks like that other character, the man in the Iron Mask from the Three Musketeers. So I do kind of want to have a little bit of that feel. So, since this Dr. Doom character wears a mask, I tend to feel like it's easier for me to sort of like sculpt the whatever's shown behind the mask, which is the eyes. So it's like a mask, and then you can see within the eye sockets, those are the eyes. Well, I tend to sculpt the eyes first so that they could look a little bit more cleaned up and finalized, so I don't have to jump in later on. Because if I sculpt the outside mask and then work my way in towards the eyes, I might run into a couple issues where my fingers, you know, sometimes they're a little clumsy sometimes, and I might bump into something, or my nail might scratch a surface of something, or something might get altered during that whole process. So I tend to want to sculpt inside and move my way outwards as I sculpt. So I've gotten to a point where I'm feeling pretty comfortable with what I have right now. Now, I ran into a little trouble in the beginning. My whole idea about making Dr. Doom look a little bit spooky or creepy, or almost like in the vein of like something leaning towards like a death character, he kind of ended up looking a little bit more of like somebody who stepped out of Mortal Kombat. So I wanted to pull back a little bit and bring him back into what Dr. Doom really felt like, which is a lot of harder angles, but in a sense it was more of like a sort of like one of those old school robots. So now that I've kind of brought him back to that spot, I did kind of give him sort of almost like a samurai type of a mask, like those samurai warriors that would often wear those armored masks and suit up for war. So it kind of is tilting towards that realm, but it's a fine line that I have to tweak. So if I go a little bit too far, I gotta pull back a little bit. Right now I'm just playing with the clay to find the specific shapes that I like. And so far I'm liking what I'm seeing. I'm just going to continue on and move forward with that. So the good part about like oil-based clay, every once in a while when I run my finger over that surface, it gets this roughness, but there's this, the angles are so nice, and sometimes they're a little bit rough and sharp. You can feel that energy right behind there. And that's what I really like about oil-based clay, is that you can get these sort of like angles and feels of it. Sometimes these effects are very nice in an unfinished sculpt. You get that stylized look. And not everything has to be rendered completely, you know. Sometimes I get a little tired of seeing something that's fully rendered. It stiffens up the actual sculpt sometimes as well. And sometimes keeping it a little bit loose feels a little bit more freeing. Let's see. This size works. Okay. I'll attach this on and build up from there. So I think I've gotten it pretty much to where I like it. I'm enjoying what I'm seeing right now. So this is my own rendition of Dr. Doom, and I can't wait to see Avengers Doomsday. It looks really incredible in the trailer, so I'm looking really forward to it. So if you like this video, please push like and subscribe to our channel, Nirmada Studios. I'm GritsFX. Thanks for watching. See you again next time. Bye.